Good morning to all. Today we are back with another chapter for class 10 CBSE students in order to prepare them for the board exams. This is a relatively easier chapter, our environment, and this is the last chapter in the CBSE class 10 science textbook. So this chapter basically deals with everything that is present in our environment, all the living components, all the non-living components, and the ecosystem and everything. And it is one of the most interesting chapters for class 10 CBSE, and it is scoring as well. So we will dive deep into this chapter, our environment, and it will be nice if students grasp the concept, understand it properly, and they write good answers in the board exam for this chapter. And definitely this is scoring. So they need to look forward to score for this chapter and get good marks. So let us start the chapter, our environment. First of all, this chapter starts with the understanding of ecosystem. What exactly is an ecosystem? What are its components? So first of all, biotic and abiotic factors are the ones that are surrounding any living organism, is known as its environment. Now, what is a biotic factor? Biotic means all living organisms, as it is mentioned here. Biotic means all living organisms like us, like the plants, like the fish, like the bird, like the swan, the insects, all these examples, everything that has life is biotic component. Abiotic components are the physical factors like temperature, rainfall, wind, soil, minerals, etc. And then there is something called as a natural ecosystem. Natural ecosystem means something that is made by God. God made. It is nature. So natural ecosystem, like the forests, natural ecosystem, ponds, natural ecosystem, lakes, natural ecosystems. So these are all the examples of natural ecosystems, something that is present in nature, God gifted or God made, etc. Then we have human made artificial ecosystems. And these are like the ones that are made by human beings. Like they are not naturally present, human beings have made it, like gardens, crop fields, aquarium, etc. So these ecosystems are made by us, the human beings. So organisms and physical surroundings interact with each other and maintain a balance in nature, definitely. So all the interacting organisms in an area together with the non-living constituents form an ecosystem. Okay. Very straightforward. All the interacting organisms in an area together with the non-living will constitutively and will come together and form an ecosystem. So ecosystem is all these components, living organism, non-living organism, biotic or biotic, natural and artificial ecosystem. Everything is a coming under something called as a ecosystem. Now let's go ahead and understand with an example of aquarium. Aquarium is a self-sustaining system because it includes biotic factors like the fishes, aquatic plants, animals, etc. and abiotic factors like free space, water, oxygen and food. So very clear forward, aquarium is one of the examples of an ecosystem since it has both living and non-living. Living are the fishes, aquatic plants and animals, they have life in it. Abiotic factors are the free space, the water, oxygen and food. Organisms can be grouped as producers, consumers, and decomposers. So, producer is all the green plants and some bacteria. They are the ones which make their own food. So, anything that is producing his own food is a producer. They make food from inorganic compounds. Like green plants are making their own food via photosynthesis. Bacteria are making their own food. Now, these are producers. Green plants make organic compounds like sugar and starch from inorganic substances using the solar radiant energy. In presence of chlorophyll, it is called photosynthesis. So we are very much clear about it. So these are the ones which are producers, the green plants and bacteria. And green plants are using photosynthesis, sunlight and chlorophyll to make the food. Like they are using sunlight, and chlorophyll is a green pigment that is present in the green leaves, and this process of plants using sunlight in order to make their own food is called as photosynthesis. Now let's go ahead And C, we understood what are producers, green plants and bacteria. Now let us see what are consumers, organisms that directly or indirectly depend on the producers for food. They consume the food from producers or by feeding on other consumers. So what are consumers? The producers are the green grass, the sunlight, water. So consumers are the ones that consume food made by the producer, like grasshopper. Grasshopper is a primary consumer, he will eat the grass. Secondary consumer is frog, because frog will eat the grasshopper. Tertiary consumer is snake, snake will eat the frog. Final consumer is hawk, hawk will eat the snake. And decomposer, what is a decomposer? Yes, we'll study that also. Okay, so type of consumers are, what are the type of consumers? Now consumers are also divided into different types. First we have herbivores. Herbivores are the grasshoppers, rabbits, deer. Herbivores are the animals that will eat all grass, etc. The vegetarian food. Rabbit will have vegetarian grass, grasshopper will have grass, deer will have grass. Carnivores are the frog, tiger, lion, etc. They will eat the meat. Frog will eat the meat, tiger will eat the meat, lion will eat the meat, etc. Omnivores are us, the humans, the bears, the birds, the dogs, etc. Omnivores are us because we eat both herbivores and carnivores, like some type of carnivores. Okay, so omnivore are the ones that will eat both herbivores and carnivores. Then there is something called as a parasite. Parasite are roundworms, tapeworms, etc. Parasites are those that live in someone else's body and take eat them as a food or produce food through them, like the leeches that we get sometimes in hair. They stay in our hair, they suck our blood, like that. That is one of the example of a parasite, and due to that they get the food. Now let's see the next slide is we will be discussing something called as a decomposer. What happens? Decomposers definition is important. Definition is the first line. They break down dead remains and waste products of organisms into simple inorganic substances. So decomposers are very important in nature. God made decomposers so that dead remains can be broken down, waste products can be broken down into simple inorganic substances. If decomposers are not there, it would never have happened. Inorganic substances go into the soil and are used up by the plants. In an unclean aquarium, fishes and plants have died. The microorganisms, bacteria and fungi break down the dead remains and waste products of organisms. So if decomposers are absent, the garbage, dead animals and plants will not decompose. See, this is important. They ask the definition of decomposers and they ask that if they are not there, what will happen? So if decomposers are absent, the garbage, dead animals and plants will not decompose. It leads to accumulation of organic materials causing pollution. Some example of Pseudomonas, a decomposer bacterium, mushroom, a decomposer fungi. Okay. Now let's go ahead and discuss the next topic. This topic is very important, the food chain and food web. A food chain is the series of organisms feeding on one another. So what is a food chain? The definition is important, that what is the definition of a food chain? Food chain is the series of organisms feeding on one another or organisms taking part at various biotic levels. Like a food chain can be this, that there are trees. The deer has eaten the tree. Lion has eaten the deer. This is a food chain. This is an example of a straightforward food chain. Now there we have some grass. Grasshopper has eaten it, frog has eaten grasshopper, snake has eaten the frog, and the eagle has eaten the snake. This is another food chain. We have again some sort of producer, the grasses. Scorpion has eaten it, fish has eaten the scorpion, and the crane has eaten the fish. This is another food chain. Now, what is asked in exam? Define food chain, give an example. We give the definition. A food chain is the series of organisms feeding on one another or organisms taking part at various biotic levels. Okay, straightforward definition, the first para. So I want students to write this definition in exam. Strengthen your definitions and write clear cut good definitions in board exams. That makes each step or level of the food chain forms a different trophic level. So each step or level of the food chain will form a different trophic level. First is the autotrophs, the producers. They are the first trophic level. The green plants, they are the producers, so they are autotrophs. They are first trophic level. Second trophic level is the herbivores, the primary consumers, like the deer, the grasshopper, the scorpion. They are herbivores. They are primary consumers. They are second trophic level. Then we have small carnivores, the secondary consumers. They are third trophic level. It can be the tiger, it can be the frog, it can be the fish, anything. Then we have larger carnivores, the tertiary consumers, the fourth trophic level. It can be, the snake or the vulture or even the crane. They are the larger carnivores. They are tertiary consumers. They are big in body size also, larger carnivores. Okay, clear? Now let's move ahead and see the next thing. See, this is a food chain. It has given a very good example. The grass, the water, sun. Primary consumer is grasshopper. Secondary consumer is frog. Snake is tertiary consumer. Final consumer is the hawk. The food is a fuel to provide energy, thus the interactions among various components involves the flow of energy. Autotroph captures solar energy and convert into chemical energy. So autotrophs are those who which make their own food, like the grass, they have captured solar energy and converted into chemical energy. From autotrophs, energy goes to heterotrophs and decomposers. Okay, heterotrophs and decomposers. Fine. Say this is the final consumer of hawk. Hawk is the final consumer. If he dies, his body is decomposed, and the fungi and the mushroom and all will decompose his body. So from autotrophs, energy goes to heterotrophs, and then from heterotrophs it goes to decomposers. Since they decompose the body of the heterotroph. Okay. Fine. I hope it is clear till here. Now, yeah, what is important? This concept, we have the trophic levels. Sometimes they will ask this diagram in the exam. Draw the trophic level diagram. So you have to draw, okay, producers in bottom, then primary consumers, then secondary consumers, and then tertiary consumers. A study of the flow of energy reveals that green plants in terrestrial ecosystem capture about 1% of solar energy. See, solar energy is a big form of energy. It radiates a lot of energy. So plants in terrestrial ecosystem are capturing only 1% of that solar energy to that also which falls on the leaves and they convert it into food energy. From there, everyone is getting their energy and the other stuff. So we can understand how big impact the solar energy is making. Like, and that too with just 1% of that energy, others are also getting their food. When primary consumers eat green plant, a lot of energy is lost as heat. Some are used for metabolism, growth, and reproduction. About 10% of the food is turned into body. It is the average amount of organic matter present at each step. It reaches the next level of consumer. So only 10% of the energy, 10% of the energy is gone to the next level from this. First, there is sun. From sun, 1% is taken to the plants, and from plants, the person that eats the plant gets only 10% of the food energy, and then again 10% loss, then 10% loss, and 10% loss. So the one that is at the top of the food chain gets the least energy. Okay, so the shorter the food chain, the better. Okay, and then we have to understand the concept of food web also. Okay, the study of flow of energy reveals that food chains generally consist of only 3 or 4 steps since little energy is available for the trophic level as the energy is getting lost. There are generally so many individuals at lower trophic levels. Producers are the greatest in number. Each organism is generally eaten by 2 or more kinds of organism, which in turn are eaten by several other organisms. This is the branching relationship of food chain is called a food web. Now the definition of food web is important. This is asked in exam. Define food web. How is it different from food chain? So this definition is important. How is it different from food chain? Is that food chain is straightforward. Food web is like a web, interlinked and interconnected. Too many connections. Like this plant is eaten by the scorpion by fish by bird, tiger eats the fish, the bird, sorry. Then there is the plant, another plant, then frog, snake is eating, then another insects, bird, snake. This is rabbit, some other animal, it is getting eaten by an owl. Now this is rabbit by fox. These two, like it is like a web, interlinked and interconnected.